In the small town of Willow Creek, nestled deep within the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, there lies a dark secret. It is a tale that has been whispered from generation to generation, passed down through hushed tones and fearful glances. It is a story of terror and tragedy, of the supernatural and the unexplained. And it is a story that I, a humble chronicler of the strange and eerie, feel compelled to share. It all began with the arrival of the Anderson family in the summer of 1956. They came to Willow Creek seeking a fresh start, hoping to escape the shadows of their past and find peace in the tranquility of the mountains. But little did they know that their new home held secrets far darker than they could have ever imagined. The Andersons settled into an old farmhouse on the outskirts of town, a rambling structure with creaking floorboards and drafty windows. It was a place that seemed frozen in time, its walls echoing with the whispers of the past. From the moment they arrived, strange things began to happen. Objects would move of their own accord, doors would slam shut without warning, and eerie voices could be heard echoing through the halls in the dead of night. At first, the Andersons tried to dismiss these occurrences as mere figments of their imagination. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, they could no longer deny the truth. Their home was haunted by something malevolent, something that hungered for their souls. The first to fall victim to the entity was young Sarah Anderson, the family's youngest daughter. She was a sweet child, with bright eyes and a playful smile, but she soon became the target of the entity's wrath. Night after night, Sarah would wake screaming, tormented by nightmares that seemed all too real. Her parents tried everything to comfort her, but nothing could shake the grip of fear that had taken hold of her. As the days passed, Sarah's condition grew worse. She became withdrawn and pale, her once lively spirit dimmed by the relentless terror that haunted her every waking moment. And then, one fateful night, she disappeared without a trace, leaving behind nothing but a cold, empty room and a shattered family. The loss of their daughter drove the Andersons to the brink of madness. They searched desperately for any sign of her, scouring the woods and fields that surrounded their home, but she was nowhere to be found. And as the weeks turned into months, the grief and despair that weighed upon them only grew deeper. But the entity was not content with claiming only one soul. It hungered for more, its insatiable appetite driving it to ever greater acts of cruelty. One by one, the members of the Anderson family began to vanish, swallowed up by the darkness that lurked within their own home. The townsfolk whispered in fear and disbelief, their minds unable to comprehend the horrors that were unfolding before their very eyes. Some claimed it was the work of demons, while others spoke of vengeful spirits seeking retribution for sins long forgotten. But no matter the explanation, one thing was clear. Willow Creek had become a place of unspeakable evil, a haven for the restless dead. As the years passed, the Anderson farmhouse fell into disrepair, its once sturdy walls crumbling beneath the weight of its own malevolence. And though the family's disappearance remained a mystery, the townsfolk knew better than to venture too close to the cursed land upon which it stood. But even now, decades later, the whispers of the past still echo through the hills of Willow Creek. For there are those who claim to have seen strange lights flickering in the darkness, heard unearthly screams carried on the wind, and felt the icy touch of death upon their skin. And so, dear reader, I leave you with this cautionary tale. Beware the shadows that lurk in the corners of your mind, for they may be more real than you dare to imagine. And should you ever find yourself wandering the lonely roads of Willow Creek, remember to tread carefully, for you never know what horrors may lie in wait, just beyond the veil of darkness. In the years that followed the disappearance of the Anderson family, Willow Creek became a town haunted by its own secrets. The once vibrant community grew somber, its streets emptying as fear gripped the hearts of its residents. Whispers of the Anderson farmhouse spread like wildfire, weaving a tapestry of terror that hung heavy in the air. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, there were those who dared to seek out the truth, who refused to let the darkness consume them without a fight. Chief among them was Father Thomas, the town's aging priest, whose faith in the power of good remained unshaken despite the horrors that surrounded him. Father Thomas had long suspected that there was more to the Anderson family's disappearance than met the eye. He had seen firsthand the devastation wrought by the entity that lurked within their home, and he was determined to put an end to its reign of terror once and for all. Armed with little more than his faith and a steadfast resolve, Father Thomas set out to uncover the truth behind the haunting of Willow Creek. He pored over ancient texts and consulted with experts in the field of the paranormal, piecing together clues that pointed to a dark and sinister force at work in the town. But the more Father Thomas delved into the mystery, the more he came to realize that he was not alone in his quest. There were others who sought to harness the power of the entity for their own twisted purposes, willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to satisfy their lust for power. Among them was Dr. Jonathan Blackwood, a renowned scientist whose obsession with the supernatural bordered on madness. Driven by a desire to unlock the secrets of the afterlife, he had devoted his life to studying the paranormal, conducting experiments that pushed the boundaries of morality and ethics. When Father Thomas learned of Dr. Blackwood's nefarious schemes, he knew that he could not stand idly by and allow them to come to fruition. He confronted the scientist, pleading with him to abandon his quest for knowledge and repent for his sins before it was too late. But Dr. Blackwood would not be swayed. Blinded by his own ambition, he scoffed at Father Thomas's warnings, dismissing him as a relic of a bygone era. And so, the stage was set for a final showdown between good and evil, a battle that would determine the fate of Willow Creek and all who dwelled within its shadowed confines. As the sun set on the eve of the winter solstice, Father Thomas and Dr. Blackwood faced off in the crumbling ruins of the Anderson farmhouse, the air thick with the scent of decay and despair. The ground trembled beneath their feet, a harbinger of the darkness that threatened to consume them both. With a voice that echoed through the night, Father Thomas called upon the power of the divine to banish the entity once and for all. But Dr. Blackwood would not go down without a fight, unleashing a torrent of dark energy that threatened to engulf them both in its malevolent embrace. For hours, the two men battled amidst the ruins, their every move a symphony of light and shadow. But in the end, it was Father Thomas's unwavering faith that proved to be the ultimate weapon against the forces of darkness. With a final burst of divine energy, Father Thomas banished the entity back to the depths of the abyss from whence it came, sealing the portal that had allowed it to cross over into the mortal realm. And as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the curse that had plagued Willow Creek for so long was finally lifted, leaving behind only whispers of a time long past. In the days that followed, the town began to heal from the wounds inflicted by the entity's reign of terror. The streets once again bustled with life, and laughter echoed through the hills as the people of Willow Creek reclaimed their home from the darkness that had threatened to consume it. But though the entity had been banished, its legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of those who had witnessed its wrath. For as long as there were shadows to hide in and secrets to keep, the memory of the whisper in shadows would remain etched in the annals of history, a testament to the enduring power of fear and the triumph of the human spirit over the forces of darkness.